Welcome back to Come and Brew It Radio, coming to you from Texas Brewing Inc. in Haltom City, Texas. You can find us on the web at txbrewing.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and share with all your friends.
Today we are recording a special show, an unscheduled show, but a show we feel is very important. We are in the midst of COVID-19 and we want to bring a little bit of normality back to our listeners. We have a variety of subjects to discuss, but it will be a coronavirus-centric show. Also, stay around later as we'll be broadcasting the award show for the Bluebonnet Brewoff Competition that sadly had to be cancelled along with the rest of the Bluebonnet Conference.
Before we get started, please be sure to check out our Patreon account and help support the show. Every little bit counts. And if you go to patreon.com/comeandbrewiradio, we have a variety of options for you to help keep the show going, get involved, and help improve it.
I'm Nigel.
I'm Mikey B.
I'm Stubby.
I'm James.
Thank you for joining.
And you butchered it.
And we got Tyler in the producers room.
I was doing so damn good, too.
Man.
No, you got three words out. You got 3 words out.
I was doing really good before we actually started recording.
The whole time he's like, I can't read. Reading is hard. I don't want to do it. Okay, I'll do it. I kind of want to do it now.
Yeah, right on.
Jesus.
Ah, shit.
Well done, James.
So anyway, it's kind of we just gotten back into the swing of things, and then boom, here we are again, having some issues, right? So just want to welcome all the Bluebonnet Brewoff listeners out there. So we're going to be broadcasting the Bluebonnet Awards here later. Someone's
volume's up.
Check your volume, James. My volume's all the way down.
So anyway, technical difficulties. We're a little bit rusty here, so please forgive us. But we're going to do the best we can, and with what we have to work with today. So we're in unprecedented times, but so we really felt like it was important for us to come out and talk to you guys, and we're going to try to keep it into you guys as much as possible, and try to communicate as much as possible with you guys out there. So this is an important time to basically stay in place, but we also think it's a really important and maybe an opportunity. Let's make lemons or lemonade out of lemons, right? Because we all have a lot of time at home. So one of the cool things is you can work on your home brewing skills, right? So that's one of the reasons that we wanted to kind of touch base with you guys and kind of talk about what's going on right now.
Got a quick question from the Bluebonnet page. Are we live on their YouTube channel too?
We should be.
Okay. So, Mauricio, we should be live on the Bluebonnet YouTube channel too.
Yeah, for sure. But anyhow, so that's going to be fun later. We're going to do our best to not it was kind of a last-minute decision. I think we decided that was it last Thursday? Or
yeah,
I don't remember. It was kind of a last-minute type thing. So we were just trying to make sure that you guys still were able to kind of watch it. We thought it might be a little more fun than just getting a posting with everybody's winner. So you have a little bit of anticipation. We're going to try to have a little fun with it later. So
and there was lots to take into consideration, right? So Texas restricts social gatherings currently to less than 10 people. There's 5 of us here right now. Mm-hmm. We have sanitizer modeled here by Mikey. We have disposable cups, so we've got our own individual cup here. Cleanup will be done with gloves. So we are socially distancing ourselves as much as we can around this table as well.
Absolutely, and you know, one of the things that we put protocols in place, probably more stringent than I've been to Home Depot, unfortunately, because our sink decided to explode yesterday. Worst time ever, and I went into Home Depot, and it's like nothing's changed, and there's old people walking around, and I'm like, yeah, you should probably be here.
Yeah. So we're trying to be as responsible as we can, but we also wanted to make sure we broadcast to you guys and brought some normality back for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we are going to do to try to kind of stay in contact with you guys is that we are our normal schedule or shipping schedule is just the same as it always been. So one of the nice things about that is that nothing has changed as far as anything has changed right now. I mean, you're still going to get your stuff. If you order by 4 p.m., it'll ship out the same day. we can't say that's going to be always the same as far as the UPS schedule. They may change. They may get overloaded. We're not sure. So, but as far as we're concerned right now, we are operating at a normal schedule. And also, we have changed our in-store policy. However, though we are not accepting our storefront is closed. So what we are doing now is we're doing curbside pickup. So basically, place your order, come up to the store, give us a call, and we'll bring your order out to you. Now, it's kind of strange we are closed today because we had already anticipated being closed for Bluebonnet Brewoff. Of course, things have changed. So here we are. But we're making the best we can out of a bad situation. And there we are. But one of the things that we're going to try to do is we're going to start this new series. It's called Stay at Home and Brew It. So one of the things that we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do like just basically, since a lot of you guys especially aren't able to come into the store now, is to get online, and we're going to do this every day at 3 p.m. And there'll be one or two guys that'll be doing a small presentation, and they'll be able to you'll be able to log on and be able to ask questions, or it might even be better if you actually send us questions in advance to make sure that your questions get answered. So, and we also just highly recommend, highly encourage you, if you just want to come on and drink a beer, tell us what you're drinking and show us what you're drinking. And, of course, we're going to do, high five and cheers, and hopefully we can help you out with any kind of brewing questions as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there's plenty going on around the store. There's going to
Absolutely.
be plenty of interaction with the listeners, with the customers as we go on. Ideal time to homebrew is while you're stuck at home, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I forgot to as well, even if you're local, this is a good deal. We're doing free shipping over $49. So if you want to just, even if you're local, there's no reason to not order online. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to operate as long as possible with as least amount of interaction as we possibly can. That's why we close the front store. So it looks like we're going to be classified under essential businesses. So we're going to try to stay open as long as we can, because we do sell foodstuffs.
And it's next day shipping, right?
And it's the same day. I mean, it ships out same day as long as you get it in by 4 p.m.
Right.
Now, if you're not in Texas, well, I think we get. You'll have to look at the map, but we do ship from Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Louisiana, parts of Kansas, our next day.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
But like I said, I can't guarantee that it's always going to be that way with the FedEx.
But if you are local, and like you say, you don't need to come up the shop, we'll ship it out that afternoon as long as you get your order in by 4, and then hopefully you'll have it next day ready to brew.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's always a really good deal when you can get it the next day.
Well, I mean, it'll save you time and effort, and you're not getting us into trouble too. So
yeah, that's
anyway.
cool. So let's kind of stick to somewhat of the normal format. If you're new to the show, welcome. We go through a variety of different subjects, one of which is recent happenings. Well, of course, again, it's all dominated by the situation we have
the virus,
right now.
yeah,
But,
for sure. And but one of the things that we're trying to help these guys combat it as much as we can as well. And you guys all know, you probably all have your own favorite local brewery in the area. And why don't you tell them kind of what these guys are doing?
Well, I know that every brewery that I can think of is doing curbside pickup. Some of them are drive right up to the brewery. There's someone sitting in a little canopy. They'll come right up to the window, ask what you want. They run inside. They bring it out to you. They swipe your credit card. They'll take cash. Some of them are doing online. They want you to email or call. A few of the breweries in Dallas, Panther Island, wants you to do that. You just place your order online. You call the tap room. You place your order. You drive up. You give them a call. Say, hey, I'm here to pick up my order. I hit Hop Fusion, RAR, and Cowtown on Thursday, and I just went back by Hop Fusion. Nigel, you hit Dallas.
Yeah, I hit 5 brewers in Dallas and 3 or 4 around town here in Fort Worth as well, and one in Arlington. So Yeah, like you say, most of them are doing a canopy. Some of them won't take cash or prefer not to take cash just simply because of the handling of it.
Exactly.
But it's a great service. It's a great ability to continue to support your local breweries. Keep them rolling while their tap rooms are closed. They can't accept anybody into the tap room, of course. So this is a good way to support them and keep them going.
Well, and actually, it's been kind of fun driving around all the breweries and just picking up stuff.
yeah.
You know,
It's kind of fun driving up and they see your stash in the back seat, and they recognize that you're running around, you're supporting everybody, because I know everybody around here knows each other. All these breweries, we're all friends with them. They're all friends with each other. They all support each other, and they see us supporting everyone. So it's really nice seeing the recognition on their face when they see that we're pulling up and we've loaded up with beer.
But of course, we are adhering to the 280 ounce limit as well. So.
Per brewery. Per brewery. Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things that's I think really important, and I think I've been trying to get a really good outlook on this and how things may change after this is over with. There may be some good things that come out. So, this is kind of cool that you can do this now. Let's hope it continues after it's done, and also, they are all one of the ways that they're trying to help support restaurants and stuff is they've allowed people to bring mixed drinks, deliver mixed drinks and all kind of fun stuff. So maybe we can get rid of some of these antiquated laws.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
If the restaurant has a mixed drink license and they have a delivery service through, I guess, one of the delivery, the Uber Eats or Grubhub, any of those, and they serve mixed drinks, you could order, if you're
martini,
local,
man.
You can order at Joe T's. I mean, they're not the greatest margaritas, and I'll take heat for that from some of my friends, but Joe T's are not the greatest. Go to Uncle Julio's and get yourself a really good margarita. But you can get those to go, then delivered to your house. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is a pretty awesome thing. So hopefully that'll change, where maybe even later on Amazon can bring beer and stuff and to your house or whatever.
That'd be nice.
But one of the things that that is challenging right now for the craft brewers in Texas, I know that there's some stuff out there, some petitions and whatnot because the craft brewers are able to do the beer to go, but they're not able to deliver. So they're trying to get that changed to where the small microbreweries and craft breweries can actually get it changed to where they can deliver the beer to them.
Yeah.
So
if you could get beer through Grubhub or Uber Eats or something similar to that, one of the food services, that'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? So that's cool. One of the other things that was established this week, I believe it was the community brewing in Dallas.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, they created what is called the Nationwide Cheers, and it was set up for 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon Central Time for anybody and everybody that wanted to take a few seconds, take a picture, take a video, and raise a glass to basically the brewing industry and to everybody else. To just say thanks, and we recognize the hard work, and just say a nationwide cheers. So that was something created in Dallas, and I think it was a pretty good success. It caught on pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I believe they're going to do it again next week.
Okay, that's cool.
That's great.
If I'm not mistaken. So check that out online. You can see it. We'll put it out on the Come and Brew It and Texas Brewing Inc. page, so you can join in and have fun with it. It's kind of like a cheers to people that are having to live at home, but also showing their craft beer pride. So I think it's a really cool thing to support these guys as much as you can in their time of need, because let's hope this doesn't go long, because it might really put some of these guys in a real bind. So
and
let's help them any way we can.
I think it also recognizes the barbacks and everybody that works in the industry that may be out of work right now because bars have had to close. So it's just another way of recognizing their hard work.
I mean, and anyone that works in environmental services, the barbacks, the people that are cleaning up stuff, or keeping things clean in restaurants, in bars, in hotels, hospitals, doesn't matter. Those are the heroes right now. I'll tell you right.
Yeah,
and they're busy.
They're very busy.
Absolutely. Anyhow, so what are we on to next, guys?
So next we have is any beer work we did this week. Has anybody done any brewing or any kegging or anything at the house?
I'm kegging up my Martzen that I brew with Brandon. That's the beer. If you follow Brandon on social media, that's the beer we brewed about 2 weeks ago. But the ball valve on his fermenter opened up, so he lost the entire batch to his chest freezer. So I think he and I are gonna have to brew that one again.
That's terrible.
I mean, and
bummer.
it was a recipe I kind of modified from the Gordon Strong book. We did his method of we only did it was like the Karamunic 2 in the Brewoff. He likes to do a lot of his caramel malts and his dark malts in Brewoff. So we tried that. We hit all the numbers. I think we were about 2 points high. The color was great. The flavor was great. Going into the kettle. I mean, we were really looking forward to this beer, and this is all gone. So I'm gonna have to share that keg.
And from what I understand, that may be a common issue with these Blickman Anvil fermenters.
Yeah, the Anvil ball valve doesn't have the safety catch on. So it's easy to open, and it's a smooth, easy opening ball valve, and so you can catch it very easily.
We did our Hellas, and I just lifting it into my truck, and I lost about a pint into the back seat of my truck.
Nice.
So
So maybe they need to put a safety latch on there.
think they
Maybe
really
that would be
do.
a good thing to keep those from happening.
I don't know if that screw on the top of the handle can be tightened down enough to make it a little tighter open. But they're great fermenters. That's the weak point on them.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, maybe they can make that an upgrade.
There you go.
At some point,
that and folding handles.
Folding handles would be another great thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to put them in it could keep you from having 2 or 3 in one fermentation fridge, right?
I am seriously thinking of cutting the handles off and using a brew hauler instead.
Yeah,
you've talked about that. Yeah,
just so you can put one more in your fermenting chamber, right?
Yep.
There's some great feedback. Maybe they should listen to some of that. I'm sure they probably got it.
They didn't like to hear it at NHC last year. So.
Oh, really? That's right. You went and told them.
That's funny.
Yeah. But hey, the guy standing at the booth may not have been the guy I needed to speak to.
Well, and not only that, maybe somebody else that is listening. Maybe if they don't change, maybe they'll make their own thing.
There you go.
So
there you go. One thing I did want to talk about briefly. So we mentioned how we went around the local breweries yesterday and picked up a bunch of beer. That is primarily what we're drinking right now. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every single thing we're drinking is local.
Almost. James is letting the side down here.
Well, I did bring that, for obvious reasons. Okay.
Coronitas.
I don't want to spend all that money.
It's a tiny Corona.
It's a tiny Corona.
I basically spent the same amount I would on a regular 6-pack, but
now you're gonna belch skunk all day.
There you go.
Yeah, but I can make those into like hot sauce bottles, salt and pepper shakers.
You can, that's for sure.
That's
so
what I'm doing.
The downside of Brandon's beer being on the bottom of the freezer now is that was a yeast cake he was building up, right?
Oh.
Well, yeah. So we're gonna show a video from Brandon here in a little bit, and he's gonna talk about what he and I have been doing. We're just running this whole lager train, and what he started a yeast cake of, I believe it was S23, and we were on his 3rd or 4th beer on it, and we were gonna probably do about 5 or 6, and then start another yeast cake.
He's starting again.
He has to start again, so I decided we're going to brew tomorrow. We're going to brew my American light beer, and it's basically, this beer is a yeast starter for the next few beers we're going to do. So he and I are both going to start the same yeast. We're going to do the Omega Bach yeast, which is the OYL 111.
Ooh, that is one thing I forgot to mention for recent happenings.
They're.
Omega has suspended all operations.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you guys want Omega yeast, you better get it while you
now.
can. Because I don't even think we got our last order that we put in. So, so we have seen quite a bit of a run on Omega yeast.
And that's probably going to be the biggest factor in being able to continue to homebrew and stuff is being able to get supplies from providers.
Yeah. We don't foresee anything other than the liquid yeast companies, which makes sense because if you're not able to sell a whole lot of it, the it takes a lot to prop up to sell only a
their
little bit.
inventory's gonna be low.
Yeah, so it totally makes sense on the liquid yeast strains. That may be our only. I mean,
Right.
I mean there may be some other ones down the line. It just depends on how long this goes, but. The liquid yeast might be a problem, but that's a good thing though, is we got plenty of dry yeast alternatives.
Just put a bigger order in for dry yeast then.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a lot of it,
Yeah,
and
we do. Yeah.
you know, in the past, I think a lot of people strayed away from the dry yeast because we didn't have the selection. Well, I tell people every day I'm at the shop. I mean, look at the selection of dry yeast we have now. You can make a beer
25 different varieties
at least, and we used to have like 5.
Yeah.
So there may not be the exact yeast you're looking for, but we can get you a yeast that's going to work and produce the ballpark beer you're looking for.
Yeah.
So
you're brewing the Martzen tomorrow. Are you doing any
the light beer.
Light beer, sorry.
I'm going to keg the Martzen,
that's right.
bottle the light beer. So I got to do my yeast starter tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a stout to keg. I've got the Cow Common to keg.
I should probably keg that one as well.
I got an IPA to dry hop. And then
Nigel and I brewed a California Common together, so he and I are both at the same place where we probably need to bottle it.
Yeah.
Keg it.
And then I got a bitter that I got the ingredients for the other day. I figured if I'm going to be stuck at the house, I'll be stuck at the house with a bitter. So
there you go.
I got 9 gallons of that to brew. So.
Well, so I mean, I think this is a perfect time. So we've seen orders from people that we haven't seen orders from in years.
Yeah.
I think I didn't think it would be a pandemic that would bring homebrewing back, but maybe there's some neat stuff to that. So hey man, what else you got to do? If you want to sit around, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity to get out and brew, man.
Absolute
So. And then as long as we can, we're going to be sending stuff out. So I think it's an awesome thing. So Brandon, so one of the reasons that we went ahead and did this is because, Nigel and I and some of the other guys here in the podcast, and even our producer here today, we're in close contact on a regular basis, or have been. So, but Brandon has kind of been out of our close circle, so he decided to stay away, and we had no problem with that. But do you have that video available that you want to play? So we're gonna let Brandon say what he wanted to convey to you guys, and y'all listen out there in the virtual world, right?
Hey, Come and Brew listeners, this is Brandon. I'm coming to you from my house tonight rather than from the studio. Like everybody else, I've had to make some tough decisions during the coronavirus quarantine that we've got going on. I've had to send home both my butlers, my manicurist, my wife's personal chef, my personal chef, and the guy who combs both my dogs. In addition, I've decided not to come into the studio tonight just to keep things safe. So I wanted to record a little bit of video and let you know what I was doing during our quarantine time during the coronavirus thing here. First of all, I want to shout out to a few of our local breweries here, Funky Picnic, Cowtown, and also Hop Fusion, that all had curbside beer-to-go service that I went to today. I was able to drive up, most of them not even have to get out of my car. Just drive up, they come up to the car, they ask you what you want and bring it on out. It's a way for us to be able to give our money directly to some of our friends' breweries that we're trying to support during these hard times where they've had to shut down completely and they don't have anybody coming into their tap rooms or anything like that. I think every local brewery in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and for those of you that aren't here, in your area, they're probably doing the same thing. So please make the effort to go out and support those guys. It's really important. We don't want to lose anybody to this, and every little bit that you can do counts. The other thing I did was I was able to go by Texas Brewing today and pick up an order for some grain and some hops and some stuff like that. And once again, I placed my order online, and I just drove up to the front of the shop, and Brock brought it on out and loaded it into my car with a big smile on his face. So here again, if you're going to be stuck inside with nothing to do, you might as well be brewing beer, and place your orders with Texas Brewing, and they'll either ship it to you or you can drive on up and pick it up outside the store. So I want to talk a little bit about what kind of beers I'm going to brew during this time, because I am kind of running low actually. Since the beginning of the year, I've been on a lager kick where I'm trying to become a good lager brewer this year, and unfortunately what that's done is choked down my pipeline a lot, because it takes so much longer to brew these and so much longer before they're done. And then anybody who follows me on social media also knows I lost a whole batch to a ball valve that opened up on me. So I'm a little bit low. So what I'm really looking to do are brew some beers that are going to be quick turnaround times. I figure in the next couple weeks, at least couple weeks while I'm here at home and not able to really go anywhere or do anything, I can brew a couple of styles that I'm able to turn around, brew them while I'm under quarantine, and then also have them kegged and start drinking within the next couple of weeks. So, you hear us talk a lot on the show about English beers. English beers is one of my favorite things to brew anyway. Nigel has really gotten me onto those, and since we can't really buy that many good examples of them here, I brew them a lot anyway. Having said that, Funky Picnic, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, they have Funny Accent, which is their strong bitter on tap. So go get that. That's an excellent beer. They're one of the better English beer brewers that I know of. But I'm going to be brewing at least one strong bitter, maybe even just a best bitter or something like that. Those typically you can finish out the fermentation in a week or so, cold crash them and keg them, and they're ready to drink in another week. So I think I'm going to do that. I've also got Belgian Blonde that I'm going to do. I'm going to split that and do the American Farmhouse yeast on it, and then also some Mangrove Jack, just standard Belgian yeast. If you keep that in around the 5.5% range, those will be done pretty quickly too. So that's my plans. I'm thinking in the next couple of weeks here, I'm going to be able to get 3 or 4 brew days in probably, and take the lemons we've been given and make lemonade out of them. So. This is probably the last show that we're going to be doing for quite a while here while we deal with this coronavirus thing, and also deal with having to move our studios and all the things that come along with that. So, watch out for little things that we're going to be doing on social media. We're going to be posting videos similar to this when we do brew and we're doing experiments and that kind of thing. We're going to put up little snippets. It may not be the regular shows that y'all are used to in the long format and the interaction between all of us, but it'll be something to kind of keep you in the loop as to what we're doing and what kind of fun things we're experimenting with. And as always, reach out to us on social media if you want to. Other than that, come and brew it.
All right. So
Thanks, Brandon.
yeah, thanks, Brandon. Holy cow, that was like half a gig of video.
Yeah. It's pretty comprehensive, is our Brandon.
Yeah.
That's true. He does like to talk.
So, before we go any further, Mikey, I've got a question for you talking about, you mentioned when you use the Munich in Brewoff.
Yeah.
The question is from Matt Morgan. How's that work?
So, I can never remember the name of the book. Do you know the name of it?
No.
It's like, it's the Gordon Strong book, and it's like new homebrew recipes or something like that.
I'll try and find it.
I can never think of the name of the book. So the Jamil book is Brewing Classic Styles, and that to me is the BJCP 2008 style guideline. That's all the recipes. There's modern homebrew recipes. So that's the Gordon Strong book. Gordon Strong is the primary author of all of the BJCP profiles. And so this book he's got a recipe for all of the new styles that came out. And he has a process where most of his caramel malts, his dark malts, anything black, he does in Brewoff. So he doesn't mash them. He only puts them in when he's doing a recirculation and a sparge. And Nigel and I did that on the rye porter.
Yep.
Turned out fantastic so far.
We'll talk about that in a bit.
The Martzen, it only did the Munich in Brewoff. I mean, every one of his recipes, if it's got a caramel malt, dark malt, black malt, anything like that, he does it Brewoff. So that's something that we're actually gonna get a few brewers together and do a whole experiment. We're gonna do the same recipe a couple different ways, and then see if we can bring them all into the shop and do a better analysis of that.
I would really be interested in being part of that, because I primarily brew on a grain father, and of course that's a limited volume of grain. And I've thought about just mashing my base grains and then throwing in my specialty grains, like for a Russian Imperial Stout.
Very easily do that,
and then hopefully get something similar.
And there's another method that I'd like to look at on the Grainfather, and it's the reiterated mash.
Yeah.
So we do. That's a whole rabbit hole we can jump down. So
cool. And then Stubby, a shout out here from Lee Nicholson saying a big shout out to TBI for supporting the East Texas Brewers Guild with the grains for their upcoming out of the box competitions.
Yeah, I think.
What about all those spices I had to package up for them? Come on.
Isn't that for? They're kind of. It's kind of like an Iron Mash iteration,
similar,
right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys' support. That's awesome out there. So. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, have fun with that. That's going to be fun.
Hey, hoping it goes on. Hoping it's
hopefully. Well, even if we had, I think about this. Even if we did the Iron Mash, we probably could still make it go on. You just have to take the stuff and brew it at home.
Yeah. There'll be a way. We'll come up with something.
But good God, hopefully.
It's got to be done by then.
But I actually wanted to ask the question: is why you have a bald head and a beard, Mikey? I mean, that was a question. It's from the other guy with a bald head and a beard.
Bald head
with a beard.
Hi, Kyle.
Look, man, I can't grow a full head of hair anymore, so I just grow it on my face. I mean,
that's like almost the badass look. Have you ever seen that video?
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like you shave your head and grow a goatee.
Grow a damn goatee. I'm just waiting for them at work to say, "Hey, you got to shave that."
All right, Lee's just responded and said, "Yes, it's going ahead." So
okay,
that's good.
Oh, that's great.
So anyway, we have Kyle LaPointe here with us. He's going to kind of preview what we're going to try to do here in a little bit. Yep. He's the assistant director of Bluebonnet, and tell us a little bit. Unfortunately, all of the bad stuff that we weren't able to do, and how we're trying to get around it, and all that good stuff.
Oh, thank you, Brendan. Yeah, this year was.
Who's Brendan?
Thank you, Stubby.
Yeah.
So this year was really crazy. The timing of it, everything hit at just about the most inopportune time for the event itself, right? We were trying to decide what to do, right, as things are changing hour to hour. We're meeting every night, sometimes twice a day as the board, communicating via Slack and trying to figure out, we get our finger on the pulse, what is going on as more and more events and more things shut down. And so eventually we had to follow what we felt like was the best course of action and cancel our event. And for those of you who don't know it, the Bluebonnet Brewoff is 34 years old, which is as old as South by Southwest. So you've got
older than you, James, right?
34? Not quite. Almost.
It's more mature than James.
It's definitely more mature
That
than
is
James.
a fact.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
You're all right. Well, the concept, though, of Bluebonnet is that it's a beer competition at its heart. And it's a homebrew competition where the awards are something that is so iconic that it's kind of become one of the nation's biggest and best competitions. And we do a great job judging, taking in entries. There's so much work that goes in just to the competition itself. However, there's a huge event that comes from it because everybody wants to get together and decide or basically be able to tell who won the awards and have a good time with it. And we get some commercial beer involved in that, and we do classes, and it ends up being almost a festival mixed with a lecture series mixed with homebrew. It is so eclectic and different than pretty much any event out there. It takes a lot to put it on. So canceling that 8 days out from the event was gut-wrenching, to say the least. A lot of hours put into it, a lot of work, and everybody we wanted it to go on so bad. But we knew it was the best thing. We just couldn't progress at that point.
Well, and I kept saying to Chris Bradley, you look at the homebrew community and homebrewers in general, we are all about the sanitation. Mm-hmm. We are, anal retentive about being sanitary on our brew day. But you put us in a room at a festival like this, and that all goes out the window. We share beer with each other. We're up in each other's faces. We ignore all that, and I'm coming from a different
drinking out of each other's glass.
We share beer. We taste this. I think it was the right decision, and I know how hard it was. I'm coming from a different perspective, but it's absolutely the right decision, and next year's going to be just even better. So
well, and I think really, I think it was kind of a snowball effect too, because there was no question that was the right decision today.
Oh, absolutely.
But a week ago, we were like,
we can do it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this whole week's been very fluid, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, I think that was the right decision. And here's the thing too: is we got a lot of older gentlemen in the clubs.
Yeah,
they're the ones that most at risk. So I think it was the right,
including
decision.
me.
Yeah, definitely.
We have people that have been going to every Bluebonnet.
Yeah.
There are a few of them in our club as well.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing that they have done that, and I think that this qualifies. They get on here, they're going to be able to watch us thanks to you guys doing your live stream here. We're going to piggyback on top of that and go ahead and give out our awards, because that's one of the neat things that happens with this. People are turning in entries and setting up or signing up for their entries in January. This thing this is 3.5 months in the making.
Yeah.
We can't just go, okay, we're canceling. One great thing is the way that the timing worked, we got all of our judging done.
Yes,
so
we did.
yeah.
Everybody busted their humps. We started a week earlier than we normally do. We got done in our prescribed 3 weekends. We took a little bit extra to knock out just a couple of little things, but we were basically done.
Man, I would tell you this. I don't think I've ever seen the judging turn out as well as it was this year. I mean, it was there was every time we came over here, a lot of the people, the west side over here was judging in the studio. And one of the things that I thought was pretty incredible, man, every seat was taken. I don't think I've ever had that much or never seen that much participation. So, man, that's really encouraging.
It was wonderful, and I think we had a great group of volunteers this year pushing from a lot of different angles. We did a few other types of commentary to get people out there, put events on Facebook, just a few little things that we hadn't done in past. We'd relied on club meetings and word of mouth, and we'd started to lose a little participationship. So,
yeah. Well, let me ask you this: is Bluebonnet, is it still the largest single-site homebrew competition, or have we kind of lost a little ground in that regard? Or do you know?
I believe it's been waning and waxing with that number. We're still pretty much the biggest each year. Nobody has ever surpassed our largest year. I think we own 7 or 8 of the top 10 competitions that have ever been put on.
Right.
But we have intentionally driven back our participationship. So we cut off our entries at 1,525, whereas we used to have 1,900 entries, and we were growing. So we knew.
Are we still classed as single site?
And that we are, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if the 2 judging locations changed that.
Technically, it could.
Okay.
So that definitely is an issue.
The most of them are over here anyway.
Right.
Well,
We
Sorry, I had to poke Dallas a little bit.
They did a good job over there, but we did judge a couple more tables than them. But overall, they had a good setup over there too.
It's still all judged in the same metroplex.
It is. Yeah.
You could.
Well, and I'm sure
I
know some people were over there and over here too. So
They were.
Yeah,
Yep.
they were. Yeah.
And because the particular entries were split up by side, you knew exactly which judging location was going to do which type of beer. So if you were entered in something and you knew that was up on deck for judging, you weren't going to be able to judge in Dallas, so you went ahead and came over here. We had a lot of help this year from folks in Rockwall, folks in Denton. So we got a lot of participationship from different judges in different areas. And they're kind of, they can choose. Do I want to go to Carrollton or do I want to go to Alsom City? And, it's kind of half and half. They could go either way.
Right. Well, and I think that's one of the things that we were really nervous about and we talked about multiple times, Kyle and I had, is that, are we going to have to continue to shrink it because of judging? And we'd had some problems with judging in the past, but big shout out to James Lalonde. If you guys ever listen, he's does the Final Gravity shows here on Come and Brew It Radio. So make sure to check out his segments. I think they're pretty cool because it's basically they take a couple. It's him and Brandon, and they take a couple beers and they judge them and talk about them and how to make them better. Yeah, I think it's a really cool little format. But he's a grandmaster, I think, with the BJCP, and he's really, really done a whole lot of really great, teaching and getting people involved in judging. And a lot of the things I learned from James, and so I mean, it's been a great to have somebody like him in the community that can really get people to judging, and I think he's done a hell of a job. And I mean, that's the reason we stopped OZAP a couple of years ago, is because we couldn't get people to come judge. And even 300 or 400 entries, that's a lot for 5 to 8 people to judge.
It's a tremendous amount of work. But people don't realize that to sit down and judge an entry, it takes roughly 30 minutes of manpower, because you have 2 judges, and it takes them about 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Plus, you have to steward that, head judge that. There's some of that time divided out. So when you have a flight with 10 beers in it, you got 3 man-hours into it. You get somewhere around there. It's a lot of time, and you multiply that out by the fact that we've got as many as 1,900 entries before. It was really taxing for Bluebonnet.
Yeah, the 1,900 was out of control.
It was crazy. Well, we had that 3 years in a row. We were above 1,800. Yeah, and that's when we just said, we're not getting more judges. It seems like it's kind of at least staying stagnant, and that's not good when we're growing. Right. So,
and we also, I think one of the decisions that you guys made, I think it was a great one, in the fact that more than judging more, it's probably better to have higher quality, better judging, but have less entries. So I think that was a real important thing that you guys changed. I think that has really gone a long way. And the way that the beers are judged now, I think that's a much better way to do it. Maybe you can explain to us a little bit how the beers are judged now.
So James Leland, you had mentioned, he's just instrumental in everything that is judging in the Metroplex. We have a lot of really, really high-ranking qualified judges, but he's kind of on a different echelon with what he does and how he thinks through things. And I'm not sure exactly how the idea came about, but he had brought up, and a few of them had really worked it out for Bluebonnet, to where instead of judging by a flight, which is what we term somewhere between 8 and 12 beers, you're breaking maybe an entire category. In Bluebonnet, it has 60 beers. Well, you may break that into 5 flights. So 2 different judges would judge each of those 5 flights. Traditional method would mean you would choose somewhere between 1 and 2 beers that were the best in that flight. They would go to a second round, and you would judge those. The difficulties in that situation would be that what happens if you have 4 phenomenal beers, or what happens if you really don't have 1 outstanding beer. Right. So you end up with maybe a hodgepodge mixture in second round. The adjustment this year was to go to table judging. So instead of judging judging 1 flight at a time, all flights were judged simultaneously. Now, you may still need 10 judges to judge those 5 flights, but you're going to judge them all at once. And if any decisions like that happen, where, let's say, these 2 beers on this table are just phenomenal, this table goes, well, I have 4, and you can kind of taste them and check it out and say, oh, no, my 4 were nowhere near those 2. So you may go, okay, I'll only send 2 to second round.
Yeah, I think that's good, because you've seen, and I hear this all the time. A lot of the complaints I'd hear over the years was, man, my beer scored a 48 in the first round, and the second round it scored a 31. And it's like, that's the reason right there, because it wasn't done like that.
Right.
So when you were in that particular first flight, you probably were a 40-something point beer, but when you're judging against some other beers that may have been better, then you're not going to score as high. It's kind of a...
It's like, the way you were mixed in that flight.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I think what's going on now, I think, is a much better way of doing things, because I think you get people that have really good quality beers aren't getting screwed because they got flighted wrong.
That's true. And, I think we've all been in that before, where you may have a 43 in the first round and you didn't make the second round.
Yeah, well,
because you're only allowed
think
to
about
push
it.
2.
Think about it. You could have been the third place beer in that flight, and you didn't get pushed on, but you might have been the third place beer overall.
You might have been.
Like Johnny Red came to me one year. He's like, "Hey man, you judged my beer at Bluebonnet," and I'm like, "Oh cool, what was it?" He told me. He's like, "Yeah, you gave me like a 43." I was like, "Oh, so did you move on to second round?" He says, "Yeah, I moved on to second round. I got like a 20 something." I was like.
Well, that might have been a bottle difference too.
That sounds really, really, really different. But I mean, different judge, different bottle, different day, different brewer.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing that this allows you to do is it lets you be able to taste those beers in that situation, and then you can decide whether you really have that quality. So you're not making a predetermined number of beers that's going to second round. So you're not saying, okay, we are going to have 10 beers in the second round. You may have 6 because, this little group says, we don't really have any outstanding beers. Okay, well, what's your highest scoring beer? Somebody who was done judging and another one can try. Well, that's pretty decent. Let's put it on the table. You can make those assessments, and you don't waste a lot of time in the second round judging extra entries that didn't necessarily need to be there.
Oh, so this is the 35th?
This is the 34th. Next year will be the 35th. Yes.
So think about this, guys. The reason I like to bring out a lot of these things, because I know a lot of you guys that are not maybe local, but if you're running your own competition, we've learned a lot of things over the last 30-something years on how to properly judge beers, how to make sure that we feel like the best beer wins. So those are all insights, even for you running your own competition. So
absolutely. Just a quick word on timing. When we talked about we got the judging done in February.
Yes.
NHC were unlucky enough to fall in the bad side of the timing. So, of course, that got cancelled this week. So there's no NHC this year. So we're probably the biggest competition this year.
We're one of the first competitions of the year. A lot of people set their brewing calendars by both NHC and Bluebonnet because they fall close enough to entry periods that a lot of people will set their brewing schedule. And when I say brewing schedule, you guys probably talk about this on your show quite a bit. If you need a 6-month time to make this beer ferment out and get to its perfect ripe condition, then this beer takes 3 months, and you kind of plan out your stuff backwards. Absolutely. So a lot of people will do that just for the Bluebonnet, just for their entries at the end of January. Yeah. So it's great because that means there's a lot of phenomenal beer that's ready for this event. But it's unfortunate for the way that this is working out for these other competitions because basically I don't think you're going to see many, if any, go this year.
Cactus Challenge as well.
Yeah, Cactus Challenge canceled and refunded everything. And man, these are good competitions with good beers and good brewers. And the Lone Star Circuit itself has been around for a lot of years. And that's a combination of a lot of Texas competitions going in to give a kind of an award for winning multiple competitions, multiple firsts, seconds, thirds, in a lot of different competitions. And we're going to really suffer this year because of that. But Bluebonnet, I feel like we're amazingly lucky that not only were we already done when this stuff really started to spike, I mean, we were done. So it wasn't like we had some wrap up or we had to try to go under the radar to judge some beers or make decisions to put people in a room.
It was done.
We were done.
If we were trying to judge, I mean, if you, there's no way. Yeah. There's absolutely no way if this was
12 years ago, we would have to judge second round today. Like we had so many entries. We were pushing things as far as we could. Sometimes things would take 4 weeks to judge, and then you'd have stuff left over. So we were judging Friday night and Saturday morning of this craziness.
I heard about some of the days where it was walking around Bluebonnet on a Saturday going, hey Kyle,
can you judge?
No, you can't judge. And you'd go, oh, well, I guess that means I've got a Stein.
Right. Yeah, so, that was kind of the bittersweet, right? Yeah. Nowadays you kind of got to guess, like, well, they didn't call me. Did I judge enough, or do they not think I'm a good judge?
Right.
But if they were walking around and you knew who was kind of picking the best of show panel, it's what you're discussing there. If you know they're picking the best of show panel and they kind of see you and run the other way, that's a positive sign. But none of that happens anymore. Now we've got a very limited number of people who know any information, and that's pretty much just our data folks.
And you're doing it so much better. You're getting it done in such a better time frame now.
Well, so. I would say there's 2 people that have been instrumental. Really, I'm going to go ahead and throw a third person in there with Matt Morris. But you're talking about Jimmy Orkin has done an amazing job on the data side. He has basically added in barcoding, and now all of our bottles and all of our entry labels and forms have barcodes. It allows barcode processing on the inside and outside portion of the double blinding, and it has saved hundreds and hundreds of hours. I think with James's ideas and what we did with the judging to consolidate, and second round is basically judged at the same time as first round now. So to do that, we have saved dozens of hours per situation like that. So that lack of volunteer hours was kind of mitigated by the fact that we had a couple of really key people working hard to make this stuff good, to make our data work and flow seamlessly, to make our judging work and flow seamlessly. And I think we're a step above most competitions when it comes to that.
I'd say so, easily.
So what's the timing for tonight?
So tonight we're going to be doing the awards at 6 p.m. So
okay.
I guess you guys will finish your show and we'll cut off.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to take off. I mean, we've got a few other things to really talk about, but do we have a couple other things?
Yeah, we've got one or two other things.
But,
we've only got 10 or 15 minutes left. And,
and so then we'll start. You'll see a countdown about 10 till 6, and then we'll have the guys on and do the award ceremony and. Hopefully it'll go out without a hitch. Sometimes internet connectivity is not always the greatest, but we have some pretty awesome internet here, but it doesn't always seem to cooperate. And one of the things that we noticed with the whole COVID thing and the whole virus thing is that it seems like everybody's at home on the internet now, so we have had some little bit of a lag, more so than what we normally have. So
yeah, I recorded my daughter today as I explained to her that they're shutting down the internet tonight at 9:00. So that was a pretty fun video.
I'm not sure I should be saying this, but I'll say it because Steve is a valued listener. Steve Russell says boomer.
Sooner.
Oh my God! Really?
Nigel,
on my podcast.
No.
Hey, guns up, boys, guns up.
I had to give you a hard time.
I did preface it by saying I'm not sure I should say it. I have no affiliation, so I'm good. So.
Hey, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
You've talked a lot about the competition aspect of Bluebonnet. What else does Bluebonnet have to offer?
So Bluebonnet, like I said, it's one of the most eclectic events that there is. We do so many neat things. So at the event, our first thing that we'll do is we'll open the taps at the Big Thirsty. So there's always a reception area where we'll tap commercial beers that are usually special to Bluebonnet. Like people try to give us some really good beers, and so things are being tapped. We built apps that run. You can go to bigthirsty.net. Yeah. Sorry, that's a bowling thing from Stubby and Mark and Fritz and I bowl and Bradley. But anyway, we'll start with that. So you got commercial beers. You go to bigthirsty.net and see what beers are on tap, and that's flowing. And then we have our keynote who comes in, and this year was a very amazing keynote speaker from Avery, Travis Rickrup, and he's done some amazing things in the beer field and has been instrumental to what Avery has done on a lot of their beers. And so you get this insight from high-level brewing industry people. And then that's followed up by a commercial tasting event that is typically, we limit it only to people who are willing to come and serve their beer, who know what they're talking about. So it's typically going to be a brewer or an owner of the company. Sometimes it's a very knowledgeable rep, but we used to in the past just accept donations, but now we kind of do it with a caveat of we want you there. It's a specialized event for mainly only the most influential brewers and people in the brewing world. So, it's kind of a good hobnob for the commercial brewers and the home brewers. And then the next morning you wake up and
hungover. Wake up hungover.
You wake up refreshed
a little bit
and ready to go.
Hungover.
And you head to our tech talks, and we typically do 4 tech talks. We've done 8 before. That was a little too much, spread our people out, so we decided 4 is the number.
Right.
And so we'll do different tech talks during that morning. We'll actually split afterwards. We've done one of the tech talks as a round table, and typically it's been a brewer's round table. This year was going to be an all-women's brewing industry panel. It was a really cool group, so I was looking forward to that. So bummer we didn't get to do it.
Do you know who was coming? Or who was planning on coming?
I have the list, but...
Women,
yeah.
They were coming.
No, it's been a little while since I've looked at it. I think Beer Geeks was...
Way to go, Beavis.
Thanks for your input, Mikey.
So we had representation from RAR, Beer Geeks, I forget the other places that were coming. I think Funky Picnic.
Sam.
So, we had several really key people around here that from mixed backgrounds of brewing. It wasn't just brewers. We'd done a lot of just brewers before. So it was going to be people that understood the advertising, people that understood the commercial market, and it was going to be a lot of fun. But to break that up, then we have 2 other events that happen on that day. Well, 3, but the one that happens at the hotel is our beer lunch, and that's an amazing. We'll get our our chef from the hotel involved, and we basically spend more money on that than we bring in. So it's a killer deal for anybody who attends.
It is, and I've been on the panel the last 3 years.
Yes,
and it's been amazing.
So
some great food, some great beer.
The food and the beer that we serve there, we pair it with typically our keynote speaker's beer. So this year was going to be a list all from Avery, and it was amazing. We'd spent months planning this thing. And for those who don't do that, there's a lot of people who join the pub crawl, and that's been immensely popular for a lot of years. And we'll go off on 4 different routes, 4 different buses. We'll go to bars, and people have said, "Well, why do you want to go spend your money at bars when we got all this free beer here?" But everybody, whoever goes on those pub crawls, says it's just a riot. It is so much fun, and the camaraderie, and everybody kind of getting herded onto a bus and to the next location. Right. And
one of the ways I explain Bluebonnet a lot of times to people is that it's pretty much everything NHC is, but just a little smaller. I mean, really, honest to God. I mean, there's everything that's available. There may not be quite as many tech talks, but there is a lot of those. And overall, it's a great time, and it's amazing how it's changed over the years. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So, sorry, just to kind of wrap it up and move it along. At 6 o'clock tonight.
6 o'clock tonight.
Live on the channels that they are currently watching on, correct?
That's correct. Should be on Come and Brew It Radio and
Texas Brewing Inc.
and then the Bluebonnet channels, both channels.
So we'll have it. Yeah, it'll be live. However you get your internet these days, So if you want to take it in via Facebook or via YouTube, then it's available on both.
Awesome.
Right on.
Thank you, Kyle.
Well,
fantastic.
Kyle.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks Kyle.
We'll see you in a bit. All right, Stubby. So, do you have a tip to deliver today?
Just the tip?
Well, I did hear something. Somebody was saying that, you can use Star San to kill the virus. No, you can't.
No.
So it's not approved sanitizer to kill viruses, so do not use that for that. Now, if you do have some quat, which that's more of a pro thing, that will kill the virus. But so, yeah. Anyway, I saw some people posting about Star San. No, it's not a approved sanitizer for any kind of virus killing, so do not use it. I guess that would be the best tip I can give for a homebrew.
No, that's a good one, and it's very topical.
Yeah. Boom. No pun intended, right?
No, none whatsoever.
That's very, very good. Yes.
All right.
Very good, Nigel.
Next on the list we got is Greg's beers.
Yes.
Greg.
As you know, we've spoke about on the past couple of episodes, there's a bunch of brewers around DFW brewing a beer based on one of Greg's recipes. And we have the first one released. I have a can of it here, so we're going to open that in a second and share that.
Awesome.
This is Cowtown's Weissenbock, based on Greg's Weissenbock recipe. It is called Wetzelbock, and it is mighty fine.
And I'll tell you what I love about Cowtown is that this beer has been so popular for them that they are working on making this a potential year-round offering.
That's cool. That's really cool. It's 6.7% dark Weissenbock, sorry. And again, it's based on a recipe that Greg put together. He and I brewed, and they've done it proud. They've done a really good job of it.
Was this the one that you brewed the day, and you were asking me, should I make a yeast starter?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not.
Okay.
Because probably not. But I don't know. That was a long time ago.
That was a few years ago.
So we brewed this shortly after we did the Weissenbock recipe with the show, and it was based on the beers that Stubby brought back from Germany, as opposed to
So this would be later than that.
Yeah. So it's fantastic. I think, and again, I think Cowtown really did it justice. I think
they did a fantastic job. I think, and I chuckle, and I'm going to say this: two of their best beers are homebrewers recipes.
People that actually worked here.
And have worked at the shop.
But also, don't forget they were homebrewers at one point.
And they're all homebrewers.
Yeah.
But
sure.
two of their fantastic beers.
Yeah.
Are,
but I would say this that Sean is a great brewer over there at Cowtown and has taken them to the next level.
Yeah,
so.
Nick and James do a great job.
They are
absolutely
that whole team. They're doing amazing things over there. I love going in and chit chatting with them.
Well, hopefully we can go in and chit chat to him soon.
Yeah, that's right. So next up, Brewdle Beer Works actually brewed the next beer in the series of Greg's beers. They brewed his Bock.
They brewed it on Monday.
Yeah, they brewed it last Monday. Unfortunately, I mean, it can work out good and bad. It's going to have time to lager because we're not going to get to drink it anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah, so. It's sitting in a tank over at Brewdle, which is good. Gives it some time to mature, gives it time to do what it needs to do. So we don't know what that release date's going to be.
No, it was going to be late April, but obviously, it's more than likely that's going to have to be put back. So we'll keep you posted on any updates from that. And then the next beers to be brewed will be by Wild Acre, our friend Jared there, and they're
doing 2, right?
Yeah, he has the Key Lime Pie Berliner Weiss, Key Lime Pie Golden Sour, should I say?
I'm looking forward to that one.
And Greg's Kvike IPA, which is a phenomenal beer. So
absolutely,
yeah. Greg did know how to brew an IPA.
He did some fantastic IPAs.
Yeah,
awesome.
and I find myself all the time. Hey, I should call Greg about that.
Yeah. You and me both.
It's sad to see that we don't have that resource anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've done that a couple times, thinking, "Oh man, Greg would be the shit."
Yeah. So
anyway, let's talk about you and Mikey's Acre Distillery collab.
Sure. Yeah. So I got a phone call. I don't know, 2 weeks.
Well, hang on. Let's talk about the beer first.
Okay. So Mikey and I we brewed a Cow Common, but at the same time, we do a double brew day. We brew 12 gallons each, and each takes 6 gallons of each beer. The other beer we brewed was a rye porter.
That was a recipe Nigel had been working on. And he's sending me screenshots of recipes. He's asking me some basic advice. And he put together a pretty good recipe as far as everything I could see. And we just decided, F it, let's do it.
Yep.
And we decided to try the Gordon Strong recipe or the Gordon Strong method. And we did the chocolate rye.
Yeah, we did the rye in the mash, but we did the chocolate rye at Vorloff.
Yeah, we did regular rye in the mash. We did chocolate rye in the Vorloff. We did
brown malt in the mash, but we did the Cara.
There was a Cara something.
Yeah.
Cara something in the Vorloff as well.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a mix.
It was a really fun brew day.
No boilovers. That was good.
That's true. We our previous brew day we had 3 or 4 boilovers, and it was just a crap show for brew day. We had
my bucket found out about it.
Yeah. He karate chopped a bucket. It was great. It was a really good brew day. Any brew day is a really good brew day. Brew days with Nigel are really good. We had a lot of fun brewing that day, and so about a week into the fermentation, I get a phone call from Nigel, and he says, "Hey man, do you want to age this thing in a whiskey barrel?" And my first thought is, well, where are we going to get a whiskey barrel and how much is that going to cost? And I'm like, sure. Do you have a line on a barrel? And he says, well, yeah. So now I'll let you fill in the rest.
All right. So I got a call from Steve Brown, who's in the Cap and Hare Homebrew Club. And he said that he had a call from JB Flowers, it's a good friend of Steve's, who is at Acre Distillery in Fort Worth. And JB had a 12-gallon barrel, and he wanted to put some homebrew in it. And so I said, well, I didn't have 12 gallons of beer, but Mikey and I do between us, and we'd brewed the previous Saturday, and this was on the Wednesday. And so we brewed the rye porter on the previous Saturday, and, in a week or so, that would be ready to go in. So I contacted JB, and JB said, hey, it's yours if you want it. What are you putting in it? I said, rye porter. He said, perfect. He said, all I'm asking is for the barrel back and some of the homebrew. So we said, deal. So I went down there, and I picked the barrel up, and we gave our beer about 10 days, 12 days, I think.
I think it was right around 10 to 12.
We checked. My final gravity was down around 1009. I think yours was a little bit lower.
Yeah, it was maybe 1007.
Yeah, something like that. And we blended back, and we have 12 gallons sitting in a fresh whiskey barrel at the house, and JB took out of the barrel a smoked single malt.
And what I think is going to be fun is you use what yeast did you use?
That's a good question.
I used Bohemian Ale, which is a private collection yeast from Y Yeast. They say it's good for pretty much all styles. And then Nigel had brewed a different beer or a different yeast. And that's the thing that Nigel and I have been doing, that Brandon and I have been doing is we brew a 12-gallon batch of beer. We split it out into two, essentially 6-gallon batches. And then I have a yeast. Nigel has a yeast. Brandon has a yeast. And then we end up with two beers from the same batch that are two different beers.
I use Scottish Ale yeast.
So Nigel used Scottish Ale, and then we blended these two back. So we're going to have a really unique beer.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for.
So we're going to rebrew the beer without the barrel. So we've got the basic beer, and then we're going to have the barrel aged version. We'll also have a bottle of the smoked whiskey, single malt.
Original whiskey.
And then also JB, once he gets the barrel back, is going to put whiskey back into it. So there'll be a fourth iteration as well. So it's quite a unique experiment. It's quite a unique collaboration. I'm looking forward to seeing what it comes out as.
This might take a little time to completely fall into place, but I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. Should be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to have you back on and we'll talk about it.
Well, I guess I could.
I suppose Nigel can come back.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, this will be our last podcast here in this particular studio.
Yep.
We have acquired quite a large warehouse for the pro side. We've gotten to the point to where we really don't need this location anymore. So we're gonna try to continue to do some stuff together.
We get to trash it afterwards, right?
Yeah. Excellent. Just like Motley Crue in the 80s, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Where's the sludge?
Yeah. But no, we're going to which it may be a little bit of downtime because of the virus too. But we're going to try to build a studio that is actually more studio worthiness, I guess you would say, built for a studio,
like an actual studio.
Yeah, actually built for a studio, and then instead of a repurposed office building. So we're actually going to get some maybe a little more well suited for what we're trying to do here. But anyway, and then we're also going to have like a little room you'll be able to see through the window at when we're doing the podcast in the showroom of the homebrew store. So that'd be kind of cool.
We'll be the zoo exhibition.
That's right.
Nice. Can I throw poop?
Throw poop?
Well, that's what monkeys do.
No.
Okay. No. You throw shoes.
I don't advise throwing poop.
Okay. Shoes it is then. Shoes it is.
It's an infection risk.
Yeah. It is a shitty situation.
Yeah, well, okay. What about if there's poop on the shoe?
Infection control. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop that.
Can we Lysol it first?
All right.
But anyhow, I just wanted to tell you guys thank you so much, and thank you for sticking with us through this whole ordeal with Greg passing away, because it's been really tough for us to get started again. And, of course, we appreciate you patrons. I've talked to one of them, I guess last week. I ran into one of them at 2 weeks ago. Ran into one of them at an anniversary party for Turning Point. You guys have heard of them on the show. They do a lot of hazy stuff. And he was like, "Hey, when are we going to do the patron brew?" And I said, "As soon as when this virus thing is over, we're going to do the $20 Patreon brew. So if you're a $20 subscriber a month, we're going to set up a deal where you can come and brew with us directly." So
I'll tell you, there's going to be some serious hangovers when this thing's done.
Oh man! Well, I saw a meme the other day, and it said, "I'm either going to be super fat or a raging alcoholic once."
There you go. Yeah,
so
I might be a little of both.
A super fat raging alcoholic is what I'm going to be.
All right, guys.
So anyway, go ahead.
So I think we're about ready to wrap up. What I will say is keep your eyes out on our Brew Focus pages for bit more content, a bit different content than what you'd normally see. When I do a brew day, I normally just take pictures, say, here's what I'm brewing, and you might see the odd video pop up, here and there. You saw Brandon do one earlier, and I'm sure there'll be a bit more content like that.
Absolutely. So, and then keep in mind too, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to do a 1 hour show every day at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
So get on, just even if it's just something to listen to and chat and bullshit, put in your input too.
Yeah.
We're going to do that, and then we're going to do some other fun stuff coming up soon. So please stay tuned, and then all of you guys that are Bluebonnet guys that have never listened to us, we have a lot of great content. So make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and you can always download us on Come and Brew It Radio on iTunes and Stitcher. So make sure to subscribe, and then you'll get any new content that we put out there. Yep. And for you guys that are older listeners, of course, you'll continue to get more and more updates as they go.
Yeah, and also don't forget, order online, free shipping over $49. You can still brew at home while you're in quarantine. So, and we're here to
please
serve
brew
your
at home.
Yeah, and say we're here to serve your needs on that.
Yeah, and that's why we've changed our kind of our whole come and brew it right now to stay at home and brew it.
Stay at home.
But anyway, you want to wrap this up, Nigel?
Sure. Thank you for listening to Come and Brew It Radio. In future episodes, we are going to taste. Oh, this is an old one. In future episodes, we are.
We're going to taste some porters.
Yeah,
we're going to taste some porters that Nigel and I talked about.
We're going to taste some beer, and we got a brewing competition that amongst ourselves that we're going to be organising too. So. And as it says here, ultimately ruin all of our friendships. That's about right.
Well, again...
I'm pretty good at that.
Sure. So be sure to check out our Patreon account at patreon.com/radio to help support the show. We have $2, $5, $10, $20 options because every single thing counts. Plus, we want to reward you while helping keep the show going, get involved, improve us. So thanks for listening to Come and Brew It Radio. Be sure to share with all your friends on social media. Give some ratings on iTunes, Stitcher, and definitely send any ideas, comments, bitches, moans, complaints, info@texasbrewinginc.com. Also, you can check in on the brew days of the guys. A lot of us are going to be posting some videos. So check in on, it's at Brew with Stubby, at Brew with Brando, at Brew with Mikey B, at Brew with Chris, and at Brew with Nigel.
And I actually might brew.
No.
Stubby.
Austin told me he might brew.
What?
I know. Yeah.
Jesus.
I know.
That's how bad this thing has gotten. We actually have time to brew now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, wash your damn hands.
There you go.
Okay. Stay away from people.
Before you go to the bathroom and after.
And wash your hands. Okay. Yeah. Wash your damn hands. All right.
Wash each other's hands. No, don't do that. No.
Stay at home and brew it.
Stay at home and brew it.
Stay at home and brew it.
That's got no ring to it.
No, it's not. Let's change that.
Come and brew it.
Come and brew it.
Thanks, guys.
Be good to each other.
Stay well.
Stay well.